The finder of lost children and missing persons, Monique Lessan. Surveillance, civil and criminal investigations, I investigate.
You know, I am the chosen one.
Do not underestimate the power of good, and do not dismiss the strength of the child.
Yes, every Thursday afternoon on Revolution Radio, come join our very own Eye Investigatrix, Monique Lessan, with her private Eye X-Files. Private Eye X-Files, every Thursday from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
Hello and welcome to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, and that's right, I'm your private investigator for tonight and every Wednesday, 7 to 9. The name of my show is Private Eye Matrix Revealed. If you do have any questions about my business, as you most of you know, I'm a licensed private detective from state of California, and I do all kind of investigations. The name of my company is I Investigate, EYE Investigate. This week, we have a great speaker. I am really, really happy to announce our speaker for tonight is Chris Keller, Kehler. He's Canadian. He is a quantum energy healer who uses pendulum dowsing to find a health problem, and then uses sacred geometry such as pyramids to neutralize the stressor causing the health problem. Sounds like almost like Edgar Casey as far as I'm concerned. Chris is the owner of Chris Keller Holistic Quantum Point Technologies. Chris has had much success working with the following health and spiritual issues, such as shingles, diabetes, cancer, fibromyalgia, fertility problems, weight loss, mental issues, ADHD, Lyme disease, and, of course, voodoo and black magic spells and curses. Wow! I did not know that. Spirit attachments, law of attraction problems, and demonic possessions. Guys, I have to tell you, Chris just worked with me yesterday because I am a chronic migraine person, and I take medicine for it for the last 4 years. It's terrible. And Chris worked with me and removed things out of my head I never knew I had them. I want Chris to explain to you, because if I say it, you will think I'm kidding, but I'm not. It actually got me a little scared. He worked with me again today before the show. And believe it or not, my migraine is gone. I just want to wake up tomorrow morning and I don't have a migraine. Hello, Chris. And thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me, Monique. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Absolutely. I have to say, as I'm talking to Chris about topic of energetic medicine and natural healing, I'd like to know, how did it all begin, and how does it all tie together in a deep spiritual level?
Using a pendulum, I'm using the sacred geometry and pyramids to actually cure people of real-time health problems. And you know what? It's working. It's working so well that I barely got time to spend time with my family anymore. It's working so good.
Yeah. I saw you. You had the video going, and I was looking at you, and you were pulling this poltergeist out of my head, and I could actually feel tinglings. And then I was like level 6 migraine yesterday. It went all the way to 1, and then it kind of came back this morning. And then as soon as you worked with me, you moved a couple of poltergeists, and then what do you say? You moved the devil. Which, by the way, I have to tell you, that kind of freaked me out because, like, what? I don't have the devil in my head. And then you said, no, everybody have a devil in their heads. And then, of course, this afternoon you told me gray aliens. Okay, we got to go there.
Okay.
What do you mean by that?
Well, let me talk about the window that I work within. Okay, lots of people work within a box. Okay, you take a course and you learn to work within this box. I don't work within any box or any parameters whatsoever. Okay, I do have people that kind of educate me a little bit on what's going on, and one of the guys is the person who makes my tools. He's very, very spiritual, extremely energetic, probably one of the most energy sensitive people on the planet. Okay, so he does inform me on certain things. So ultimately, you have to think that anything at all can be part of a health problem. So when I do work with people with a different issue like migraines or diabetes, whatever it is, doesn't matter, there's always going to be a spiritual problem and there's always going to be a physical problem. So in your case, there was things like gray aliens. There was these beings, lower dimensional beings called the Fu were involved. There was also the devil that was involved. And when I tell people that, they roll their eyes, but realistically, all this stuff does exist on a different dimensional level, and it can affect us. It can cause a health problem. So ultimately, with let's take gray aliens. You asked about gray aliens. Basically, everyone is born with a gray alien inside them, okay? And what these gray aliens want to do is they want to splice our DNA. They want to learn from us. They want to try experiments with us to see what happens, so that if they did it on themselves, it would work, and different types of things like that. That's one of the things they want to do. The second thing is, what do they eat? They don't eat food. We plant crops and have animals, and we make our own food to ingest for energy. What they eat is energy. Okay, so what better energy they like most is fear. Okay, they love emotion, they love fear. That's the tastiest energy for them. So they're always trying to inflict fear with us. So they cause a health problem, we have fear, they get energy, that type of thing. Okay, so ultimately, these aliens are causing health problems within our body. They're part of the health problem. And it's my job to go into a person like your body and to find these aliens and to get rid of them. We basically use the pyramid energy, and I intend for them to leave, and they have to listen. Universal law says if I find you and I identify you, you have to leave.
Well, you say I was born with it, or was I kidnapped?
Everybody was born. Some people are abducted. And it's more on an energy level. So we all have what's called an etheric template within our aura, and that is a blueprint of our body. It contains all the information within our physical body.
Yes, I believe that.
Yeah, they can take that etheric template and abduct that, make the changes there, and then the etheric template goes back, and then the physical body reads off the etheric template. So if there's something going on in the etheric template, you're going to have the symptoms within your physical body. So that's basically where the abduction happens. I'm sure there are some instances where a person is fully abducted and things happen. We've all heard about those types of things, but it's more so the etheric template that gets abducted.
That's something I've never heard of before. I have to tell you that is so interesting. I have to tell you something though. I just recently, the last few years, I do have like a dot, like a tattoo dot, just a dot on my forehead by my hair, which I don't know what that is.
Well, you know what? Sigmund Freud said it best. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but it could be something.
But I wasn't born with it. I never had it. It just appeared, which is very strange. I can see it. I'm like, what? When did I get a tattoo on my forehead? I never had one before. So, anyways, I don't want to scare the listeners. I'm still normal.
we all are. We all are.
Yeah, but so I'm starving now, the gray aliens. So I'm not giving them energy since you pulled them all out, right?
That's right. There still may be more. The more that we work, the more we dig, the more we may find. They can be very, very deep within the energy of your body, and that's my job is to actually find these things and kick them out. Same with poltergeist. Same with human spirits that get into your body. Satan, Lucifer, the devil. All those things are here. They're real. They cause problems. I don't know if anybody's seen the trailer for the new movie, the advertising for the new movie called R.I.P.D. It's about all these cops on the earth that die and they go to heaven, and then heaven sends them back to earth.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is I do that for a living.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, I find spirits that are on the earth that are causing problems, and I send them away.
Uh-huh.
So if there's a spirit in your body, and we all have an attachment of some kind, if it's causing a health problem, I'll find it, and I'll get rid of it. And then we can get to the real cause of the health problem, which is a mineral deficiency, mineral excess, parasites, bacteria, viruses, and that type of thing.
That's interesting. So do you actually see spirit attachments?
I don't see them, okay? I do all of my psychic work with my pendulum. Everything is done through there, and a series of charts I developed. It's a very, very thick book of charts that I have. And I've got everything in there that you can ever think of that could be part of a health problem, spiritually or physically. My pendulum and my guides tell me everything. I don't see them. Sometimes I feel them. I do a lot of house clearings, and I'll go into a house, and if the spirit goes through my body, I will feel a big tingle. It's like the old saying, the hair on the back of your neck goes up.
Yeah.
That's what you feel. When your hair on your arms and your neck goes up, you get the chills. That's a spirit crossing through your path, okay?
Right, right. And so do you think that this deep level, I would say cleansing that you do,
Yes.
On this quantum level, how does that affect the Western world that focuses so much on symptoms and drugs to get rid of the symptoms? How do you come across that dilemma? How do you deal with them? People who are very traditional in their thinking.
Well, basically,
I
don't deal with them. If somebody is open-minded enough and conscious enough to come see me, then those are the people I want to work with. I don't try to convince anybody that everything that I do is real and that it's got credibility, because ultimately, you know, if you're really, really a non-believer, I'm not going to be able to convince you. Even if I do some work on you and I remove a health problem, you're still going to say, oh, maybe it just would have gone away on its own anyway. So with Western medicine, I really don't pay attention to the people who are really involved in it. One of my relatives is a very big head of a cancer research team. Him and I have some fantastic conversations. You should be the fly on the wall when we're together. But Western medicine, you know what? There are some places for it, of course. You don't want me sewing up a big gash on your leg after a car accident. That's for sure. It'll look pretty ugly. We do need Western medicine for certain things. A lot of people will go get testing done and then bring me the test results. I'll look at them. I'll use my pendulum, and I'll go and find the problem with that. So Western medicine, a little bit,
has
yes.
its place. Yeah, it definitely has its place.
Of course. You know, so Western medicine, we got to have it right now, but I think the world in general is starting to wake up to the fact that, you know what, pharmaceuticals, they're not doing anything.
And you always have to watch your nutrition and exercise, all of that.
Yes. 100%. Yes. You know what? You have to take responsibility for your own health. At the end of the day, don't eat like you know, fast food every day and think, oh, the doctor will fix it. You know, come on. Yeah, take responsibility.
Right. You know, tell me a little bit about the quantum mechanics. What is the quantum mechanics?
Quantum mechanics. Basically, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, the mechanics of the universe is basically the way the universe is set up. And it's very... As it relates
to your work.
How it relates? Well, basically everything is quantum energy. Okay, so I work within the quantum energy, and the word quantum means the smallest measurable amount of something. Okay, so if you consider that the smallest measurable amount of something is a quantum energy, I work with that energy, and the quantum energy has a consciousness. So when I hold my pyramid towards the area on somebody's body, and I say remove this stressor, The
Right.
consciousness says, okay, no problem. That's what you want me to do. That's what I'll do. And it goes in and does it.
Interesting. Because I've actually personally experienced it, so I know that, honestly, I actually felt tonight, especially, I felt like you really removed something. But I was just wondering, do you actually feel, because, everything is vibration and it's frequency. We lower our frequencies, we may be able to see across dimensions other entities that exist as well as we do at the same time. Like we are in this dimension, in another dimension, they vibrate much faster, or we vibrate much slower, and sometimes we lower our frequency, and we can maybe see them. Do you actually feel that yourself, or do you work with that kind of energy, which is having spirits in another dimension right next to a person? Do you see spirits next to people?
No, I don't see spirits. The odd time when I'm doing a spirit clearing in a house, I may see something out of the corner of my eye. And we've all done that. We've seen something out of the corner of our eye. And that's generally what I see. My expertise is 100% with the pendulum. There are people who actually sit right across the table from an entity from another dimension, and they can see them plain as day sitting there cleaning their nails. Only because they're able to adjust their frequency to see past our matrix and get into another dimension. And yeah. The other dimension is right next to us. It's not like...
That's exactly what I'm saying, yeah.
That's right, yes.
So they are at the same time, it just vibrate at a different frequency along with us. They exist, but they are so much faster, or we're much slower. I don't know which one it is actually, but we just have to lower our frequency in order to see them.
That's right.
And, there's a question that came in, I think, on chat, and I'm just going to read it. So, okay. Can a mole qualify as a negative entity?
Well, as far as moles go, you know what? Of course, why not? I mean, I've never come across this myself, but ultimately, if you've got generations of family with a birthmark or a mole or something on their body that's consistent, that's got to be some kind of identification, some kind of brand. It could also be part of a tracking device. It could be a beacon. It could be something that is identifying this family line, the people within the family. Of course, I mean, why not? Knowing that there are extraterrestrials out there of many different species, from many different dimensions, for many different purposes, yes, absolutely 100%.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
But it could also just be a mole.
Yeah, and then we can just call a mole a mole. Right? You can actually use your pendulum for anything. Because I also saw that you work with the Star of David and the secret geometry, like the Flower of Life.
Yes.
From my studies of Drunvala Melchizedek book, The Ancient Secret Flower of Life, I've learned a lot about it, and I know that there's a Merkaba around us that even our chakras go all the way to 13, which covers all around us, and in fact everyone has it, and it's in fact around the earth. Am I correct?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. If you look at our molecules have a Merkaba around it. Our cells have a Merkaba around it. Our bodies have a Merkaba, and it just keeps on growing bigger and bigger. So now our cities have one. The Earth has one. The solar system has one. All the planets have one.
Sure.
Everything is part. We all have the same energy makeup as people, as beings, as planets. We all have the same energy type of makeup.
Right. Somebody in the chat room is asking if you have ever seen a real ET, extraterrestrial.
Oh, many times on the internet.
Or in a movie, right?
Now, I've never seen an actual being, but I have had multiple sightings of ships, and it's undeniable that there was definitely something different than a weather balloon or whatever. It was definitely about 4 or 5 sightings I've had of spaceships.
Oh, well, I'm a UFO investigator for MUFON as well. So you should definitely report this to MOFON, and an investigator will call you to take your sighting and investigate those sightings that you had.
I'll do that.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I have to actually announce that I forgot to say, I'm not kidding, but in the last week alone, I have seen very unusual activity in the sky. I don't know if people have seen it, but something was moving across the sky that was nothing I've ever seen. It was not a spaceship. It was not a UFO. It was not a cloud. It was not chemtrails. It was just this thing that was moving across the sky. I parked my car. I was going down the freeway. I just pulled over just so I could take a picture, but it didn't really take it. There was a couple of them. Very strange. Have you noticed that there are more sightings actually recently in Canada?
Myself, I haven't really noticed. You know, I pay attention to what's going on. I'm always looking in the sky. I know one day all of a sudden something's going to be there. I've heard of a few different sightings. I did see something probably about 6 weeks ago, just a silver ball of light hanging over a field. Might have been doing a crop circle. I don't know, but I did see a little something, and it was gone. But
what part of Canada are you from?
I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is about 2 hours north of Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I hear your accent every once in a while. You do have an accent.
I have an accent?
Yes. I should talk. I know.
Well, actually, I come from an area in Manitoba which is called the Bible Belt, and there's a lot of Mennonite Germans there, and that's my upbringing is Mennonite German. So when I go back there, the old Mennonite drawl comes out, So.
Oh my God.
So there's an accent for you.
Well, okay, I do have a question. I'm getting a lot of questions from chat today, but I do have some of my own. Can you tell me how DNA can be affected by energetic medicine?
Well, okay, that's a very good question.
I always have great questions.
I bet you do. I'm looking forward to all of them.
Okay.
What I do with the DNA is I perceive it as a computer program for our body. Okay, so you've got the chromosomes, which is like a different memory card for different things that are within the strands of the DNA. So I don't look at the DNA the same way the scientists do, because they're trying so hard to understand it, but they're going about it the wrong way. So they say that our DNA has like 75% junk DNA.
Yeah,
well, to me, that's just empty space in the computer that can be filled. Mm-hmm. So if I'm working on somebody and they've got a very extreme health problem, I can actually create a card of energy to put within those empty slots in the DNA to override programs that aren't working well. So if you view things as a computer program with the DNA, basically, the world is your oyster as far as a health problem goes, because everything works at the DNA level.
Yeah, that's right. Chris, you do your work all by Skype mainly and remotely. I mean, you obviously see people as well, but most of your work is done remotely. People don't really have to be right next to you for you to do this work.
That's right. What I do have an office within an alternative health clinic where people in Winnipeg and outlying areas do come see me on a daily basis. But about half of my clientele is all over the world. So I've got about 8 people in Australia I'm working with. I got a few people in Norway. Today I just worked on somebody in Germany. I have many people in California, Florida, Bismarck, North Dakota. I can do all this work over the phone. It's just as if you're sitting right next to me. So when I run energy over the computer on Skype or over the phone, right away you feel the energy, you feel the changes happening, the shifts happen right there in real time. And the comment I get is, wow, how can this be happening? Well, the phone line, the computer line, it's all connected so close. It just brings us right together. So it's done very, very easily over the phone and over Skype. All we do is set up an appointment, just like you're going to the doctor, and we carry it out.
And it doesn't really make any difference. You don't get better by being next to you than being on the phone or on Skype.
Yeah, the only benefit about being in my office, because I also do live blood analysis, so that's another way that we can look at a tangible level to see what a health problem might be. I can also give you minerals or homeopathic remedies through a radionic device that I have. So that's a bit more benefit, but you know what? If you're in San Diego, California, you're not going to get on a plane and come to sleepy old Winnipeg to see me. We just do it over the phone. You can do it at your desk at work. It doesn't matter.
Right, exactly. I know that Don also got some treatment from you. What was your experience, Don?
Well, Chris is still working with me. He did some work and pulled some things out. I'm looking forward to something I couldn't even imagine, which would be the results. So, yeah, it's a work in progress, and I'll let you know.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks. I know that it was working for me. I have to tell you. But anyways, going back, I know that you also work with the law of attraction.
Yes.
And that I don't know how that works, because are you using equipment for that, or is it just visualization, meditation with the subject as you do remotely?
Well, what I do is I consider the law of attraction, or the secret, as part of your energy makeup. So we all have our own law of attraction, or our own ability to manifest things in our reality that we want. So let's say you really want that black Cadillac 2013 version CTS, and you want it so badly, but you end up getting a 1985 Toyota Corolla. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened? Well, what can be happening is that within your law of attraction, just like any other of your energy bodies, there can be a negative energy, an entity, or something causing it to work backwards, causing it to not work for you. It could be causing
reverse.
Yes,
reverse.
It can be, of course. So you're trying to manifest something, but these entities are going, no, let's do something so they can't manifest, so that it brings their vibration down and it creates more energy for us, and we have control over them. So for many people so far, I've done work within their law of attraction. Now you have to consider the law of attraction is a part of a manifestation matrix that we have, which includes a crystal body. There's also 2 other manifestation bodies that are involved, and all of these have to work together and be perfectly cleared in order for you to manifest things that you want.
Yeah, what about, what do you think about the subject of jinx? I know our listeners admit to this. There's no way. I could be saying, for sure, I'm going to Peru in 2 days. Lo and behold, just because I announced it, and that being, I'm a huge manifester. All I have to do, people, actually my friends call me like a little genie. Like, the movie, I love, I Dream of Genie. I do that. I just go, boom, and it's done. I pretty much manifest just about anything I want in life. And the things that I usually always wanted have never been material things. But however, I also have noticed that if I talk about something too much, it actually jinxes. What is this jinx? Where does that fit?
The word jinx is actually part of a voodoo language. Jinx, I forget exactly what area of the planet that's from. Hex is from Germany. Jinx, I can't remember exactly where. But you can put like you said, a jinx on it. So if you talk too much about it, if anything's possible, okay? What's the best way to describe that? You're playing on a hockey team, and you're in the dressing room, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna win. And everybody's like, don't jinx it. If you're too positive about something, it could bring things around and work against you, okay?
But is that like negative entities that live? I just kind of feel that it's not just me. I know everyone that I have ever talked to, if they talk about something too much, it's just like little fairies hiding in different dimensions that go, whoop, now you're not going to get it because you just said it too many times, and and they take it away. What is
Well,
that?
you know, that there's a lot of different scenarios where you say something 3 times, it'll happen. So if you say things 6 times, it could bring it to 0. I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios, but
So it's superstitious.
if it comes across that you keep on talking about it, it may come across as greed. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And greed is not a good thing. So if you want something and there's greed involved, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
So
what if it's not involving greed?
That's
maybe
right.
you want a
So
child.
it has to be for your best and highest purpose, of course, all those good things.
Yeah.
But if there's greed involved, then I think that changes the game.
Yeah, of course. So basically, before you say anything, you got to say, for every time, in your head, you got to say, for the highest good of the universe and everyone in it,
Yes.
I'm putting this out. So you almost have to give a little prayer to keep it safe in a little box.
That's a really good way to put it. Yes.
I just came up.
And everybody's got their own little way of doing this, okay? I mean, there's no one particular magic word that's going to make it happen. Everybody's got their own way of doing things and having this law of attraction work for you. Here's what I do. I put things into perspective. Now, of course, everybody wants money, okay? But money is a greed factor. So what I do is I manifest that more people find my YouTube videos, find my website, listen to these radio shows, and seek me out for help with their health problems. The more people that do that, the more money I get, and in the meantime, I'm helping people with their health problems. So
Right.
it's a trade-off, okay?
Right, yeah, exactly.
So it's almost like you have to give something to get something.
Yeah, I can understand that. Because I do a lot of pro bono cases, and sometimes the pro bono cases that I do, people don't even bother saying thank you. Yet when I do charge, even if it's with a discount a little bit, I get more appreciation.
Yes,
I don't know.
you put worth into it.
Yes, Don.
Yeah, I got
Don
some.
he has
Sure.
a question. Go ahead.
Well, we kind of talk about specifics in some of these shows, like money is around greed, and what I see is we have a completely malleable universe. Depending on how we structure our mind and how we see things, we can recreate our universe and our health. And that seems to be what Chris is talking about. So money is like a flow of energy. If you reorient how you associate with something, your desperation for it, why you have it, if you're really clear on the purpose, you set the purpose, you can actually manifest things a little more easily. Chris, is that kind of what you're saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then just for a side, you mentioned the word jinx, and it appears from the research it comes maybe from Latin, or from a word for a bird in Africa or Asia that actually turns its head around 180 degrees and hisses like a snake.
What? Okay.
So,
Thank you.
Well, you learn something new every day.
there you go.
Lisa wrote something to me about chat, another question, and they're saying, aren't you afraid of lawsuits? Is that what
No.
you're saying, Lisa?
Hello,
Okay.
yes. We had a girl, I assume, named Beverly in chat that had asked that, and that was about 20 minutes ago, so I'll have her ask the question in reference
problem.
to what.
I guess they're wondering if only Americans would ask a question like that.
I almost didn't forward it, but, okay.
Okay.
Here's how it goes. Chris Kehler is not afraid of anything, okay? I fight the devil on a daily basis. Chris does not fear lawyers. Chris does not fear Health Canada. Chris does not fear anything. Chris has God on his side. Chris has Christ on his side. Chris has people on his side that nobody's ever heard of. Now, okay, having said that, of course, you have to be careful with the way you word things and how you put things. Like, I'm never going to come out officially and say, I have a cure for cancer. That's just painting a target on your back.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm working with somebody, I always say the pendulum says this. The pendulum says that. It could be this problem. Let's move it out and see what happens. I'm never really specific about an answer unless, unless it's so plain as a nose on your face, then of course I will say something in that effect. But ultimately, you keep it gray.
Sorry, I think your pendulum has a lot to fear from the legal system, and I just can imagine someone going up to the courts with their attorney saying, "But Chris spoke to the pendulum, and the pendulum said this, and I listened to it." It really is about responsibility about what you create. Go ahead.
But good for you, Chris. I'm really proud of you for saying that. Why should we be afraid?
Well,
you put something out there and it works, and if the people who don't want to go forward with it, then they shouldn't.
That's exactly right. And Don hit that nail on the head. You know, if somebody wants to take me to court and put my pyramid and my pendulum on the podium, well, go right ahead. You know, when you're working spiritually, nobody wants to touch it because it is so far out there. Nobody's going to believe it. So if you're diagnosing with doing, you know, more traditional things, then of course you're treading on top of the medical system. This has got nothing to do with the medical system. I don't use the word diagnose. That's doctor words. You know, they can have their words. I don't care.
Exactly.
I just mind my P's and Q's, and I'm very, very professional about it too.
Yes, and I've seen you work, so I'm so impressed, I have to tell you. Well, if anybody wants to get in contact with Chris...
My office number is 204-255-0939.
Okay.
And my website, if you want to look at my website and contact me that way, my website is chriskehler.net, ChrisKehler.net. Make sure it's .net because chriskehler.com is an accountant. So you want to make sure you get the right guy.
Okay. I guess that has happened before. And you do have LinkedIn. I mean, there are so many ways to get a hold of you.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. I've got about 50 videos on YouTube that explain my philosophies and shows how everything works, and lots of different interviews I've done. Everything is on YouTube. You can look at that all day long and learn something new about me every minute.
Okay, stand by and we'll be right back with Chris and Monique. That's right. I'm your host for tonight. I'm Monique Lessan for Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, and the name of my show is Private Eye Matrix Revealed. We are talking with Chris Keller on the topic of energetic medicine and natural healing. When you think of healing disease on a deep level, it doesn't get any deeper than this. And as I said before, I think in our Western world, we focus so much of our attention on symptoms and drugs to get rid of the symptoms. This is an alternative. So we are presenting it to you, and thank you so much again, Chris, to be back with us.
Thank you.
All right. So I know that we were talking about so many different things, but one of them that I was very interested is cancer. My mother died of cancer. I know a lot of people suffer from this disease. How can you help with this? Can you actually make it disappear, or what?
Well, the answer is yes. I mean, ultimately, now if somebody comes to me and they have a symptom and I use my pendulum and it says cancer, so you know, of course I'm going to be very delicate with the way I tell them, but ultimately you catch it early enough, you can get rid of it, just easy as that. Now, if you come to me with stage 4 cancer and the doctor says you have a week to live, well, you know, I don't care who I am, who I have in my corner. That's going to be a tough one. But so when it comes to cancer, okay, cancer is the scariest word in the world. Okay, now you go to a doctor's office, the worst, you know, is he going to tell me I have cancer? And people sit in my office, is he going to tell me I have cancer? That's a scary word. So
that has actually happened when people came to your office just worrying about the answer. Okay.
Yes, and cancer has come up. But because
wow.
they come in at a very early stage, I work on it. Their symptom goes away. Now, of course, they've never been officially diagnosed by the medical system that they have cancer. So, that's just a term I gave it. That's what the pendulum said. Now, I look at cancer in a lot of different ways. Everybody has heard on the internet and all the different alternative people that there is a cure for cancer. They're just not telling you that's bull. Okay, there really is no cure for cancer. You have to look at everybody on an individual basis. Okay, for any disease, any illness, you have to look at everybody as an individual. You can't treat 100 people for the same cancer the same way. You have to look at everything different. You have to look at your nutrition. Make sure that there's certain minerals that you're taking. Now, here's a good one. Here's a story that's going to rattle a few cages in the medical community. In Germany, about 15 years ago, when they were doing breast screening for cancer, they would inject the breast with platinum, liquid platinum, okay, to highlight any tumors. Wow. And they were doing this for quite a while. All of a sudden, they're realizing, you know what? Cancer's going away. People who have breast cancer, the cancer's going away. So now, what I use within my clinic, I use liquid platinum as a part of the treatment. Okay. I also use liquid gold as part of the treatment. There's also other minerals that will alkalize your body, and that's the big thing, is making sure that your body is alkaline. You don't want an acid pH within your body, because that is an environment for cancer to grow. Cancer is like a fungus, like a mold. It has the right environment. It'll keep on growing. The cells will keep mutating. So I go really deep into it. I find out what's making the cells mutate. I move out all those stressors, and 99% of the time there is going to be some kind of negative attachment, like an entity, a negative energy, or a voodoo, black magic. We'll get into that later. That's a pretty cool one. But if you make the environment of the body non-cancerous, then you got a much better chance of the cancer going away. Now, people like what's her name? She's a famous person who had cancer. Anyways, there's people who say that Louise Hay. Cancer is an emotion. Yes, there can be emotions involved. You have to remove these emotions because the emotion could build up and cause
I believe that.
Health problems. Oh, yes.
No, I believe that because I think that
Sure.
I believe that for example, my mother during the hostage crisis, in fact, Iran, during that time, she died of a broken heart. She was completely okay, and then from one day to another, and the whole thing that was going on with my father, my mother, well, I always say my mom died of broken heart, also known as cancer in her situation. Okay. So it is emotions that build up into a disease.
That's right. You know what? That is a component. It's not always the component, but more times than any, in things like cancer and those types of things, they do create emotion, and the emotion is a component of everything else that's involved.
So these people who come in for an appointment for, like, you didn't know that it was a cancer involved. They didn't know there was cancer involved. You don't actually let people know remotely about that, do you?
Well,
can you actually tell that too?
I really have to because I can't lie. When I'm moving the energy out, I have to say the words neutralize cancer within the pancreas. So somebody's going to know that there is cancer there. And people want to know. You have the right to know. If you have cancer, wouldn't you want to know? So
absolutely.
So of course I'm going to say the words, and of course now this person is going to finish the appointment, and they're going to go to the doctor and get checked, and the doctor is going to say, you don't have cancer. Well, of course not, because we did the work, or because we caught it so early that they can't detect it yet.
Yeah. Folks, if anybody has any comments or questions, please give us a call. This is the second hour, and we will be open for receiving phone calls for anyone. Call 424-253-0127. Okay, moving on. Tell us about the voodoo. I definitely
Okay.
want to know about that one. I was going to ask, it was a kind of toss-up between cancer or voodoo, so.
Okay, voodoo is very interesting because probably 90% of the world's population is affected by voodoo, black magic, and witchcraft. Those are all kind of the same things.
You're
Now-
killing me, seriously? I mean,
yes.
in this lifetime or in the past
In
lifetimes?
this lifetime, okay? There's no denying it, okay?
Don, listen
the way,
to this.
the way I got into working with these voodoo and black magic spells is I had a client. Of course, I have these words in my charts. So I had a client in Florida call me up, and she is going through all kinds of bad problems. So I did my work, and I found, yes, you do have a voodoo spell. And she goes, yes, I know, and I know the person who's putting it on me, and I know her background. Apparently, this lady, she had 14 kids from 14 different men, used 3 of the babies as sacrifices, and she practices voodoo on a daily basis and tries to inflict harm on other people. And this person who I was working on, she was going out with this lady's son, so anybody who had contact with her son got targeted, okay? So that's the extreme form of voodoo, where somebody actually takes pins and puts them into dolls and actually does black magic. If you consider the work I do as white magic, people can do black magic, okay?
Oh,
so
absolutely.
this person on that level was performing voodoo. Now here's the other end of the story, okay? So I'm working with my wife's uncle, and he says, okay, Chris, show me this crazy stuff you do. I says, okay, no problem. So I says, okay, Mike, I says, what kind of health problems do you have? So he says, well, okay. He says, every night before I go to bed, and just before I go to bed, I get a pain in between my shoulder blades, and it doesn't go away until I get up in the morning and I can't sleep at night. I says, okay, let's find out what that is. So I use my pendulum, and it says voodoo. And he looks at me and rolls his eyes and says, what? And he goes, oh, wait a minute, that damn ex-wife of mine. And I says, what do you mean? She says, where she's always nattering at me, she's always talking about me, and she's so evil inside. So here's what that voodoo is. Voodoo can be as simple as a negative thought put towards somebody, okay? Thoughts are energy. Thoughts come into our heads every day. You know, us guys, we can sit there and 15 thoughts go through our heads in 2 seconds flat. And
That's just called ADD.
You can call it whatever you want. But ultimately, if there's somebody who does have some dark energy within their body, when they think negatively or talk about you behind your back to other people all the time, that energy goes towards you because they're talking about you, and it can actually go in and cause a problem. I had this happen to me personally, okay? Something was going on, and I moved out this black magic spell, and all of a sudden things were better. So there's absolutely no denying, because I do work on people on a daily basis, and I tell them, I says, you got a voodoo spell, and they go, oh yeah, I can believe that. So and so has given it to me. So people are really open to this. So voodoo black magic can be as simple as a negative thought, and it can go all the way to the other end as being somebody who's actually practicing it.
Right, I believe that. I think that Don was told that there is that he had someone. Don, what was the situation that you were told by another psychic that you had when you were a child?
Oh, that was really interesting. She said that she kept saying there was a trauma or some traumatic thing that happened as an early teen. And while we were talking, I kept going over my experiences, trying to recall something, and she was trying to describe it. I was thinking of a hospital or some physical thing. And then I remembered an incident where I felt something want to, kind of like something wanted to possess you. I'd completely forgotten about it. But I'd remembered it for years. It was very clear. It was only when at home. So it's very interesting when you talk to somebody like Chris or somebody like this psychic, and they say something, and you're in disagreement. Say, no, it doesn't fit. And then suddenly you realize, wait a minute, how did they know that? Yeah, it fits. Something that you wouldn't have told them and they wouldn't know about.
Exactly.
But you suddenly start re-examining everything, saying, wait a minute. So Chris, I think, people put their faith in there and try a little bit, see what happens. And the other thing about Chris, too, is that I found that his rates, what he does, is really affordable for people. So
$50.
Like all these healers that charge an arm and a leg.
Just $50, and it only takes 1 hour, or it takes longer?
$50 an hour.
That's amazing.
You know what? People are
takes-
people charging $350. They're in it for the money. I'm in it to heal humanity. You know what? If I was a multimillionaire, I wouldn't charge a dime for this work, because I have a family. I got to put a roof over my head. I charge what I have to get by, and my goal is to give people a healing they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
People need some honesty.
Chris, that it usually only takes 1 to 3 treatments, depending on the person's situation.
Depending on the situation, like a migraine might take 2 or 3, depending on what it is. Somebody with severe MS or cerebral palsy, that might take 30 or 40, okay, depending on how chronic it is.
Right. Oh, and the other thing, Chris, is it sounds like when you take 2 or 3 that you're moving multiple levels, multiple things, but you're also looking for the problem. So there'll be many things in the way, and it's an exploration to reach what that thing is, to get the clarity.
But
right. The other thing is people are always absorbing things. What I'm gathering from talking to you and others like you is if you clear these things out, someone can they can get a little more of their own control over their life. And then they can begin to be stronger and realize that these things can affect them, so that those things don't have the same effect going forward in the future. So you kind of build them an immunity. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed. When you know about these energies and they're taken away from you, it's just like getting a cold. You don't get that cold anymore because you built the immunity. Exactly. You build an energy immunity.
Mm-hmm.
And do you do tune-ups on people sometimes? Come back
all the time. You know what? The
tune-ups. I like that.
People come in for so many different things: spiritual development, law of attraction, health problems, emotional problems. You can name any problem whatsoever, and no matter what it is, I have got something for it.
Can you do some spiritual development on my Honda?
You want it?
Wouldn't have to take it to the mechanic.
To be honest, yes. Okay, because what can happen with poltergeists and entities and spirits that are walking the earth, they love electronics.
Oh, I've heard
I heard that.
Love to get into electronics. When my wife passed away, I went out and bought a $13,000 stereo system. I love music. I'm an audiophile, so she didn't like that very much. She was still in the house, and she got in my stereo and made it fail twice. I had to replace it twice.
Well, I have that problem with computers and phones, so...
Well, 2 things I wanted to share with you, actually. One of them is that in regards to what you just said, my beloved Persian cat passed away Christmas Eve, just past Christmas Eve. And, middle of the night, my computer just would go on with music, with YouTube starting, or it starts making noise. I find that fascinating, that how any kind of spirit, once their spirit, in the other side, they can actually freely walk between dimensions. So
yes, and everybody's got a story about some kind of spirit happening. My late mother would come in and change the heat in the house. I'd actually show my wife. I'd say, watch this. We're going to leave the house and set the temperature for 22. We're going to come back. It's 19. Sure enough, it is, because Mom liked it cold.
Liked it cold? Interesting.
Mom liked it cold in the house. And it'd always be around Christmas time because Mom loved Christmas.
Maybe she just wanted you to save money.
So it seemed to be pretty cold, or in Fahrenheit.
That's in Celsius.
Yeah.
Chris, do you ever do any dowsing over crop circles? Have you ever seen a crop circle that you sat and just did some dowsing over it?
No, I've never actually been within a crop circle. Of course, I've seen all the pictures, and I pay close attention to them.
Right.
A lot of them, what I find with crop circles is if you look at sacred geometry, okay, so I use the pyramids, Star of David, all these different things, they all have a meaning, they all have a specific energy. So if an ET comes down and he puts this design in a field, that could be some kind of negative energy being sent into the earth, okay? For the most cases it is. And what they're trying to do is to shut down the Earth grid, shut down all the crystals within the grid to stop the ascension process from happening. They don't want this fifth dimension process to happen. So that's what crop circles are in a lot of instances. There are some good ones that are trying to give us information. There's also a lot of bad ones.
Well, okay. First of all, why would we even get, I mean, when you say that bad ones, are we talking about negative response or negative messages that they're trying to give us? Extraterrestrials.
I've heard of that.
It's a negative energy going into the Earth. Okay, something that's encoded within that crop circle to shut down certain crystal grids under the Earth, or to cause an earthquake or do something. There is an energy encoded in that crop circle for a special purpose. They're not just coming down here and playing artist and playing in our circles. They're actually doing something.
So, in your opinion, and I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but do you think that there are many different kinds of extraterrestrials, good, bad, the reptilians, yes, the gray aliens? What has been your experience with them?
Well, what I've been, I always clear out things that are negative. I'm always looking for negative things. So reptilians, yes. Gray aliens, yes. They're called Zeta Reticuli.
Yes.
There's also another form of gray alien called Rutilia. There are actually a few beings that I found myself that are within our time matrix that I've had people confirm that they are there. One of them is called the Fu. It's spelled F-U, okay? What the Fu is, if you read Revelations book, chapter 20.8, it talks about the pit of hell being opened, and these beings come out riding black horses with iron breastplates, and they circle the sky, and what their intent is to try to make people commit suicide and to cause large health problems. And that's what I removed from you today, Monique, was the Fu, okay?
Don't tell people that, please.
So that is a being that I found, okay? The Pendulum told me all about it. It said read Revelations 20.8 and you'll get some information. And I did. There's also beings called the Tiazi, which are basically trying to cause us emotional problems. So there's and there's so many other ones that we don't even know about. I'm probably missing a whole bunch. But there's also good ones. The Arcturians are on our side. Agarthans are on our side.
Yeah, Agarthan. That's right.
Pleiadians. There's all these different beings, multidimensional, that are on our side, that are against us. It's unbelievable that we're still alive because of all these darn things. There's the Anunnaki that we keep on hearing about with planet Nibiru and Sumerians and all these different beings, Atlanteans.
Fascinating.
Yeah, there's so much involved in it, and frankly, makes my head spin sometimes. But it's how I have to work, and that's what happens.
Okay, that's fascinating.
That's my rant.
Because I actually believe that we are here because they are keeping us. If they wanted to destroy us, they wouldn't have to leave a message on a crop circle. They just
blink their eyes.
Get rid of us. Yeah, absolutely. So they're here to keep us, and they're telling us that just take it easy. You're destroying your own world. We're here to protect you.
In certain ways, yes.
Okay, the message came from Beverly from chat. Can you heal MS?
Well, the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. But the real question is, are you willing to have your MS healed? Okay, that's the big question. Let's put it into perspective. You are a smoker and you want to quit smoking. Not much different than healing any other disease or illness. The thing is, are you ready to quit smoking? If you're not ready to quit, you're not going to quit, no matter what I do. Okay? Yeah. For a lot of people, their health problem is their crutch. If you don't have your health problem, all of a sudden there goes all your disability benefits. There goes all the attention that you get from it. So if you don't have a health problem, well, who am I? There goes your identity. So if you're ready to release that identity, if you're ready to get back into society, if your need is that strong to get rid of it, yes, absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Well, there you go, Beverly. You got the answer. he can heal you, but you have to be willing to get well, basically.
And also you have to be willing to go through the process because, like I said, with certain things, MSs, cerebral palsies, like diabetes is really nothing. But those types of things, they do, in a case of severe MS, where there's speech impediment and mobility issues, that is going to take a while. Like I said, 20, 30 treatments. It's not going to happen overnight. You know, it might take 10, who knows, depending on what we find and how easy it is to clear out. That's the basis of it. Diabetes, 1 or 2 treatments, maybe 3 or 4, and that's no problem.
Okay, there we go. Well, I wanted to ask you actually my own question now. There's just so many things that I wanted to ask, but one of them is still that I wanted to go back to the extraterrestrials that we were talking about just a little bit ago. Are you saying that they live among us, inside us, and all of them are here to cause us mental or physical problem?
Yes, 100%. Look at us as an experiment. Look at us as a game. Look at us as energy for them to live off of. Basically, like you said, we need to be here for them to survive on certain aspects. So yeah, they are among us. You know, there's all kinds of different scenarios being thrown around about extraterrestrials. That, you know, the President Obama's bodyguard is an ET, and I've seen videos where this guy looks kind of weird and he's throwing his head back and forth, and he's.
Oh, I saw those videos.
Yeah, and you know, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. Okay.
Right.
So you have to form your own opinion.
You have to weed out. Yeah. You have to weed out what's
form
true
your own
and what's
opinion.
not.
And until somebody stands up and says, "Yeah, you know what? I'm an extraterrestrial. Here's proof." It's all speculation and opinion.
Yeah, but if they are already living among us, why do they have to kidnap us? I mean, if they are eating my energy, why do they have to even take me away? I'm right here.
You know, I mean,
It's
this
so
is
easy to take me over, it seems like.
Sure. You know, of course, they want to make sure that everything's going towards plan. So there's extraterrestrials that are monitors. Maybe there's ones that you know, pass information around and set things up. I mean, you just let your imagination run wild, right? All I know is that when it comes to ETs, if my pendulum says to remove it, I remove it. The health problem goes away. ETs exist. That's where I come from at the bottom line about ETs.
Okay. Do we have any questions that over there that want to ask? Please just jump in. I don't want to be the only one to have all the questions. So it seems like Lisa has. Lisa, go ahead and talk, because I'm trying to read all your emails and texts. Go ahead and say.
This one here.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay.
One of the questions from chat was from Lookup. She says, what is diabetes caused by, and why is it so common, even with children?
Okay, so diabetes. I've worked with people with diabetes. One person, his blood sugars will go up to 11 or 14. One treatment, all of a sudden they're normal. Okay, if you take 5 people with diabetes, they're going to have it for 5 different reasons. So like I said before, you work individually with the person. Now, ultimately, diabetes is an insulin problem or a sugar problem. It could also be, let's say there's a virus in the pancreas that's causing a problem with insulin production, okay? So you move out the virus with energy and all of a sudden things get better. If it's multiple problems, you have to work deeper within the body. Now, there's also a scenario where the pancreas is working fine, the insulin is fine until it gets into the system, and then there's something within the body that neutralizes the insulin, like let's say a heavy metal like lead or mercury or something like that. It's called a bad insulin scenario. So there's nothing wrong with the pancreas. It's when the insulin leaves the body, it becomes sour and doesn't do its job. With kids, I mean, look at what kids are eating nowadays. I mean, Orange Crush is now orange juice, right? You got to keep the sugar away from the kids. The more sugar you're eating and trying to digest, the more insulin your pancreas has to make. All of a sudden, your pancreas says, "I've had enough. I quit." And all of a sudden, now you've got sugar problems. Okay, there can also be an issue with a mineral deficiency. If you look at the mineral sulfur, okay, all these minerals are necessary within our body. Sulfur can hinder insulin production. So if you're sulfur deficient, that can run in the family. So you got 5 generations of family there are diabetics. They can all be sulfur deficient. There's also minerals like chromium, vanadium, which metabolize carbohydrates, which metabolize sugars. So you have to really look at the mineral component of your body, what's deficient, what's excess, and deal with it that way. Also working with energy to clear out viruses and that type of thing. So there's could be about 4 or 5 different steps and issues for diabetes.
Mm-hmm. Did that answer your question, Lisa?
There can also be an ET in your pancreas. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I find that interesting. Chris, do you actually feel the entity coming out? I mean, do you actually struggle with them?
Yes. When I do my work with my pyramid, okay, so basically I'm holding my pyramid either over the computer, over the phone, or if you're in my office, I hold my big pyramid over your head.
Yes.
And when I say the words, when I say, okay, send all gray aliens within the brain into the etheric realms, all of a sudden I feel like I'm deep sea fishing and I got a big marlin on the line, and the energy just pulls on me, and it's all I can do to stop from falling on top of the person or on top of the computer. Then when that entity is gone, it just releases and I go loose. So I actually do feel the energy processing a little bit. It doesn't go through me. I don't pick it up and get it myself. It just goes through the pyramid and vanishes into the etheric realms.
And does it ever affect you yourself, because or your family? In fact, I saw your son tonight on Skype, who's absolutely adorable.
Yeah, he's a cutie.
What's his name?
Joshua.
Joshua. Oh, such a beautiful kid. But I mean, when these spirits come out of a person that you're working with, where do they really go? They go to ether. They go. Yes. And you make sure that they have a direction that they go. They don't go inside you.
That's right. Now, of course, when these spirits are being pulled out, the way this is happening is I have a protector spirit guide. His name is Red Hawk. He's Native American, and what his job is to pull these ETs out and these spirits, these poltergeists, and deal with them. I also work with the angel Raphael as my healing angel. If I'm working with something like the devil, I call on Archangel Michael. I call on Gabriel. I call on the whole army of angels to pull this entity out and to take it away and do with it what they have to. So if you're working with the right spirits, the right frame of mind, you know what you're doing with it, it's really not a problem. I have had cases where, yes, I'm pulling Satan out of somebody, and it will attach onto somebody else. It'll grab on, and that person will say, I think it landed in my head. And then,
are you serious?
Oh yes, 100%.
But did they get possessed at that point, or what?
Well, no, all they're doing is grabbing onto the aura. Like, they're leaving the body, and he's got his claws out, and he's grabbing onto that person's aura to hang on for life, to stick around, but he's not within the person. He's just hanging on to try and stick around longer.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about positive energy? I mean, I know that diseases relate to negative energies and poltergeists, as you put it, or other things like food.
Right.
But what about the God within us? What about the good within us?
Within us, we've all got a God connection, okay? And it's in the form of a silver cord, a etheric silver cord that connects to God, okay?
Yes.
Sometimes that cord gets severed. We need to reconnect it. we all have spirit guides within us, okay?
Yeah.
I've got about 25 of them because of the work I do. Most people, maybe 1, 2, or 3. Now,
I was told that I have many because of the work I do.
yes, yeah, the more work you do, the more you acquire. You can invoke all the spirit guides you want. With the work I do, I invoked Nikola Tesla, and he does great work with me. One thing I do for fun is I'm in a band and I play the drums. I invoked John Bonham as my guide for drumming. Okay.
Well, how do you know? Do you ask them?
You just say, John Bonham, please be one of my spirit guides, and he's like, okay, I have to. Okay, so you invoke it, it'll come. Unless he's taken a rebirth already, then he can't do it. But you invoke him and he's there. Okay, simple as that. And sometimes when I'm drumming, sometimes I'm drumming, I'll feel him actually come in, and I'll start playing a little better. Yeah. So sometimes with our spirit guides, there could be a dark guide in there. So quite often I'll look through my spirit guide group, and my dad is my lead spirit guide, and I'll just ask him, Dad, is there anybody in this group that should not be there? And he'll spell out a name, and I'll go, well, get him out. What's he doing here? And spirits will try to infiltrate your guide group because they want to be part of the big picture. They want to be part of what's going on, or they just want to cause disruption. Today I found that a friend of mine I've been working on, he has a gray alien as his spirit guide. I had to get him out of there. Okay.
Gray aliens are nice. Come on.
What planet are you from?
Particular.
So you've got a lot of good within you. We all have our protector angels. You have your guardian angels. You have your God sense. You have your God self. You have your higher self. All these things are good within you, and you can call on them anytime you want for protection, for guidance, for advice, whatever. Your spirit guides are sitting there right now twiddling their thumbs saying, okay, give me something to do. So every morning I have a conference with my guides, and I say, okay, this morning I need 2 people to find me the cure for this person's illness. They'll go into God's library and they'll find it. Okay, and they'll come to me with the answer. So Nikola Tesla will help me with my radionic device, which is a frequency machine, and he'll give me advice to tweak it and do different things with it.
I tell you something. I lost my father back in '99, and I told the audience before that he had come to my room and he brought messages from where he was. But I was on my way to the airport. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I was in Iran, actually. I was going to the airport to leave to come back to the United States. And my sister, you're going to laugh at this, but my sister lived in Bangalore, India at the time. And so she was visiting because we had my father's 1-year anniversary. So I came from America, she came from India, we were all there. And she's actually into voodoo. And I told her, I said, I'm not into that, just kind of keep it away from us. But she's into like white voodoo, whatever. There's no white voodoo, is there? No. Anyways, so she started putting all the alphabet, Farsi alphabet on the table to do, what is it called? What is that thing that
Ouija?
Yes, Ouija, Farsi Ouija board. So the spirit came in and started moving things around and made the name of someone who died from a motorcycle accident who knew my stepmom. And nobody knew that. I mean, there was no way. And he said, like, oh, I used to be in love with her. And we were just asking questions. But, oh, my God, the door downstairs was far away from where we were sitting, and there were stairs coming up. And we asked the Ouija board, who's coming up? Nobody could see it. And then it spelled the name. So nobody could really cheat even if we wanted to.
That's right.
It was very freaky.
No info. Oh, yeah, I do the same thing with my pendulum. I do medium work. I talk to people who have passed away, and they give me answers. With the pendulum, it spells it out the same thing as a Ouija board. The only thing with a Ouija board, you got to be careful, because if you call on the wrong spirit, it's going to go inside you, and then you've invited it in, okay?
Well, that's what I'm talking about, exactly.
Yes.
And then this spirit actually knew my father, so we asked if you know him, and he said, yeah. And we asked my father's spirit some questions that there was no way everybody would know. In fact,
That's
we
right.
didn't even have to say it out loud. We could just say it in our heads.
Well,
But
what's
isn't
going to
that
happen?
true?
Yeah, what's going to happen when you talk to a spirit that's crossed over? The first thing it's going to do is say something to indicate that it is them. Okay, it's something that you can't make up. I did the same thing with my grandfather, who I never met. He died when I was 2 years old, and I said, Grandpa Fair, how you doing? And he says, my afterlife is going wonderful, thank you. And I says, do you have anything to say? And he says, I did not burn the house down. And there's an old story that they had this old 2-room house in this old farmland, and he burnt the house down for the insurance money. And all of a sudden I remembered, hey, there's a story about that. So how would I come up with that? So yes,
Exactly.
they're going to say something that would indicate it is them.
Don?
Yes, hi. Hey.
Off the mute. Yeah, he's on the mute. Go ahead.
I work in about 8 screens while the show's going on, looking things up or right. So.
Oh, I think that may have something to do with what Chris is trying to heal you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now, Chris, what can you do about ADD and the multiple screens in my head?
Turn 4 of them off.
Focus on one only. Okay, what's your question, Don?
My question, well, I'm sorry, I didn't have one right now. I'm just listening away.
You wrote it. You
There's
wrote
a
it
few
in the
questions
sky.
All right. I see. I thought maybe you guys. Okay, I see what you mean. Chris, you were talking about how these voices or messages come to you.
Yes.
And a lot of mediums receive things in different ways. From talking to you, I gather that you receive these messages in several ways. One through your pendulum, and I'd like you to tell the audience about your pendulum templates and what other forms these messages come in, whether it's words or intuition. I mean, I imagine different guides speak to you different ways.
Generally, it's 99% through my pendulum. So when I'm holding my pendulum, and I've got the way my charts look, it's a semicircle with all these different slots, and I just write words within there. Okay, so let's say I'm looking for a stressor, the cause of a health problem. I'll just wave my pendulum over it, and my guides will point it to the right answer. Okay, and then my pendulum will do a 360 degree and then go back to the same answer to confirm that is the answer. I also, of course, intuitive, like anybody else, a thought will come to my mind. Oh, so it'll land on one answer and it'll make me think of something else, and it'll lead me in the right direction. So basically, the pendulum templates are really the open mind that I work with. So,
And is that better than the other device that you use, which is, I just said it too. What other devices do you use besides pendulum?
The pyramid.
Dowsing.
Yeah,
You don't do dowsing?
Dowsing is a pendulum.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
there's
same
the
thing.
different kinds of dowsing.
Yeah, there's rod dowsing. There's muscle testing is dowsing. There's water witching with a willow stick and that type of thing. But I just use a pendulum. Ask the question. Now the question is more important than the answer. You ask the right question, you will get the right answer. Okay, that's what it's really all about. And I douse to ask what question to ask, and that'll lead you in the right direction. Quite often, if you're looking for an entity, it's going to block you from finding it, so you have to ask questions to get around it to find it. So sometimes
And you
it
have
takes
to be
a little bit of
specific.
Yeah, specific. Sometimes you have to trick it a little bit. You have to ask the question a certain way, and it'll get you.
I've also heard sometimes you can just, if you can figure out that they're doing that, you can go directly and ask a direct question, and the entities have a very hard time moving out of the laser light, so to speak.
Yeah, what I generally do is I ask the same question 2 or 3 different ways. If you get the same answer, you know you're on the right track.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Can you tell which guide it's coming from? Do you have any indication?
Generally, the guide swinging the pendulum is Kehler. It's a guy named Kehler. He sits next to God. I've been told he is God, but my feeling about him, he sits next to God. Kehler means King of Angels, and he's one of my ascended masters. My guide group, my research group, is my dad, my mom. An old girlfriend of mine, for some reason, I don't know, she says she still loves me. There's
And
my.
they actually talk to you?
Oh, yeah.
Nice, Chris.
Is that,
Yeah.
Excuse me, do they talk to you telepathically, or do they use the pendulum
through the pendulum? Through the
I see.
Yeah. So,
Because,
so,
I use the pendulum myself. And I use it just the way you said to me yesterday you use it, which is I just hold it in one place. And it does take a long time. You use it and move it back and forth.
Oh, yeah. I take all of the inertia out of it. I move my hand back and forth and just follow the energy of the pendulum. Okay, I'm doing it right now without a pendulum, and it's showing me something. So I give
What
it
is it showing you?
I don't know. It's trying to spell something out. It's doing something. But ultimately, I give it movement. I give it motion, and then wherever it lands, that's my guides giving me the answer. Because I only have an hour to find, somebody's health problem. You want to do it as fast as possible. So I speed up the process. I've got my own way of doing things. People who teach pendulum courses, they look at me and go, "You're doing it wrong," and I'm like, you don't know nothing. So you don't know the way I work.
Everybody, you work differently. For me, it just kind of goes to the right or left or north or south, and sometimes around when it's a maybe. Mm-hmm. But I've seen, other people do it differently, which is the way you do it, and kind of lands. Actually, sometimes it lands right on the word.
Yeah, there's so many different ways to do it, and whatever works for you, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Some people need to use a certain type of pendulum. For me, I can use anything. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, you could use your keys.
Yes. You can
well, Chris, before it's too late and before the show ends, because we only have now 12 minutes, I want to make sure we give your phone number again. I will let you say it, otherwise I may mess up again.
Okay, the phone number to the clinic, the clinic is called the Cascai Holistic Healthcare Center. It's in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. The phone number is 204-255-0939. Okay? You can
your
reach
website?
me there. My website is chriskehler.net. It's spelled CHRISKEHLER.net. Make sure you put .net. .com is an accountant. I'm not an accountant. Okay? There's lots of Chris Kehlers in the world for some reason. Right. I don't know what it is. So that's the phone number. Look at my website. I've also got a Facebook site. So if you go on my website, you can click on the Facebook icon, take you to my Facebook page. You can click the YouTube button, take you to all my YouTube videos. So many different ways to get a hold of me. And I am very easy to get a hold of. If you try to get a hold of me tomorrow, I will get back to you tomorrow. I'm not one of these guys who thinks that he sits on a pedestal and I'll make you wait a few days before I get back to you. You are very important to me. I need to fix your health problem, okay? That's what I'm here for. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. My rates are only $50 a session. A session is 1 hour long, and you may need a mineral. You may need one supplement from me, so you're not going to be spending $300, $400, $500 per session to work with me. It's affordable for everybody.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. I mean, folks, my migraine went away, and hopefully I wake up tomorrow morning and I have no more. So basically, your clients are one-time clients, most of them.
Generally, there are lots of one-times. I always encourage to come back for a second or third visit, just in case there's something else there we need to remove, because everything is taken away in layers, okay? You remove one layer, you let that settle, and then another layer comes up and you can move that out. What happens quite often, if you come back 4, 5, and 6 times, we start working at a spiritual development level where we start to enhance different things within your energy to help your gifts to come forward a bit more and to line you up with the fifth dimension ascension process and that type of thing. So that's really cool. I have some people who've been coming in 30 or 40 times, and their development, I look at them and go, holy mackerel, you should be working on me. That we get them to such a point where their pendulum work is so precise and they're so clear and clean that nothing bothers them anymore.
So, okay, you're going to have to tell me that one more time about the fifth dimension. You're talking about you work with people until you get them to that point?
Well, it's all preparation. I can never really, put somebody in the fifth dimension until it is within the earth, of course.
Yeah.
And the energy is basically here, okay? Everything has happened. The energy is here. There has to be certain activations within it. There's different levels of it. There's 15 different levels. Right now we're at level 1 of it. so I can prepare somebody's body to accept the energy. When you accept that energy, sometimes you get extremely tired. And when I do some certain work to activate certain things, your body will accept it more easily, and you won't go through the healing crisis that's involved with it.
There's a okay, interesting. So you're saying that
healing crisis is when you get really, really tired after doing a session.
I know. The fact is that we are living, a lot of us actually, not everyone, because we're still living in a three-dimensional world, and a lot of us actually are entering the fourth dimension. Or yes. So the fifth dimension that you're talking about is through your therapy.
Well, we can work towards that. Okay, like I said, I can't put you in it.
Has the Earth entered the fifth dimension itself?
The fifth dimension energy is here, okay? The fellow that I work with in Alberta, Canada, who does all of this grid work on the Earth to get things moving for it, he went into different dimensions and found all the male energy within all these dimensions, and now all the universes have changed from a male energy to a female energy. He found that the male energy was actually Jehovah, which is God's father. Okay, so God does have a father. All right, and this is going to be really hard for the Catholics to accept, that's for sure. But there is a pecking order in the kingdom of heaven within the universes. God does have a father. That does exist, and that has been cleared out to make way for the female energies.
Very interesting. Well, okay. I guess somebody keeps asking me to ask you if you know Stephen Kelly.
Stephen Kelly. I think the name sounds kind of familiar, but ultimately I don't read anybody. I don't follow anybody. I make all my own rules, and I follow my own heart and my pendulum.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
The name kind of sounds familiar.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me just kind of let people know what's going on. Thank you so much. So much. I really enjoy talking to you no matter what, Chris.
I enjoyed your show. Very, very, very entertaining.
Entertaining, and thank you for healing me. And Don is still working with you. Folks, this is Chris Keller. Please contact him at all the phone numbers and emails that we gave you.